Today's video is sponsored by our good friends at PGX Grading Services. If you're looking for short turnaround times and low prices and great service, try PGX. Check out the link below. Shipping nationwide. And welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shibu Are You? Well, in this episode, we're going to do another PGX unboxing. It's been a little while since we did our last PGX unboxing, but I could tell you right off the bat that the next month, we're going to probably do a bi-monthly boxing. So we're going to have one at the beginning and at the end of the month. There's a lot of cool stuff coming back, so stay tuned. This is just to whet the appetite, to get us back in the swing of things. Now, if you're new, I've been doing these unboxings not only for PGX, but also EGS as a alternative to corporate CGC. And now, if you're new, we've been doing both of these companies unboxing and showing that they're viable options in the comic grading market. Now, as a former government auditor and a data analyst, I've, seeing what's currently going on with CGC's stronghold, and I've mentioned it several times, could have disastrous effects in the long-term stability and growth of this up-and-coming wonderful hobby. Some people are looking at it as viable options for legitimate investing. Now, when you see some of these prices for Fantastic Four #1 or Amazing Fantasy #15, it's legitimately, like, there are people that are non-comic people that are actually putting money away into this as a commodity. So you want to make sure that this hobby doesn't have that 90s fallout that we did. And if things are going the way they are, there could be a potential disastrous impact. And that's why there's kind of like an underground movement going with guys like myself, Brozen Aged Nerd, Hunter Comics, Journos, Regie Collects, that are pushing for these smaller companies like PGX and EGS to kind of make sure that everybody is on the same plane. This way, if there's a fluctuation in one company, the other two or three are kind of counterbalancing everything. But it takes for the community to get behind this movement. And I think that's why I do this, to show during my unboxings that, hey, your money is going just as good as CGC. And the other aspect is, of course, I try to be transparent, and the detractors. There are people out there that will not send their books to PGX or EGS. And it's because 98% of these people have never utilized their services. And to me, that's stupid. How could you criticize something if you don't use it? And when you trace back all of this detractors, it kind of leads back to a 2005 message board posting. Think about that. 2005 message boards. If that sounds stupid as a deterrent from using a company, then that's because it is. For all we know, and think back in 2005, those posts, whoever posted those comments, could have very well be the CGC marketing team. There's no credibility, there's no sense. And from my personal experience using PGX, none of that stuff is true. And if you watched, like my regulars known, I do the unboxings to show you what the end product is. Now, CGC, the biggest complaints recently, every 8 months there's been a price hike. Number two, being treated like they're doing you a favor when they should be making you feel like a valued customer. And number three, and the most important, is the turnaround times. We have our good friend, fellow YouTuber, Hunter Comics, had wait 14 months to get back a particular order. 14 months. PGX 2, at most 3 months has been my turnaround time, my experience, and all making sure I like the follow-up, making sure that I'm satisfied with my purchase, their service. This is the little shit that PGX does. They're more concerned with the quality of their service and product more than profits. Where CGC has gotten so big that they're like, hey, we could do whatever the hell we want. We could shit in a box and you're gonna like it, and we're gonna tell you you're gonna like it. I'm sorry, guys, that's not a company I'm into. Give me the company that's hungry, that's looking to, climb up the mountain. That's who I want my dollars to get behind. And again, you're dealing with a corporation, a CGC that, employs, maybe 40,000 or whatever, maybe 20,000 employees. Let's be more realistic. Where EGS and PGX, you may have a list of 25 people. And those people are carrying out the American dream. And you got to get behind, and they're also fellow collectors. I've gotten to spoken with the owners of both companies, and they're much as fans as us. They get excited about the books that they see coming through their company. That's what I like to see. That they're as much fans as we are. So I like that. And again, for the newbies, this is going back to my experience as a government auditor and data analyst. Now, we've seen Sears, Toys R Us, CompUSA, Pets.com, companies that once had a stronghold in their particular market, and due to some executive decision or something, they have been one of the catalysts for driving down that entire industry as a whole. Even though, retail has been going down for a while, but still, Sears should not be where they are. They should still be out there. They made terrible decisions of not joining Amazon, not going into e-commerce fast enough in the early 2000s. And those stupid executive decisions has led to where Sears is today. I'm not telling you anything new, but I know a lot of these younger people, I went to a top 50 Ivy League type school, and I may not look like it, but I did. So I'm just combining my profession, my education with what I see in this hobby. So that's why I have chosen to put my money behind these two companies, not for my own personal reason, because there's something I want to leave behind for other generations in this hobby that has given me so much joy and has helped me crawl out of a dark place when I was suffering from PTSD after 2 tours. And getting back into retro, like GIJoe, Transformers, as well as comics, helped me a lot. And I don't ask for Patreon, I don't ask for anything. The great blessings, I'm financially okay to, I don't need to ask for stuff. So all this is just to benefit you. Now, the biggest reward I get is when I have my viewers, whether it be regular or just people dropping in saying, hey, I saw your video, I tried your service, and I'm really happy and ecstatic with you were right. And that's what I'm suggesting to you. Hey, maybe send 2 books to PGX, maybe send 2 books to EGS. Give it a try and stop feeding the corporate machine and making it fatter. Don't do it for yourself, do it for the health of this wonderful hobby. So with that aside, let's whet our appetites with the sampling of a few books that I got back from PGX. Again, we're going to have much more beginning of probably the end of the month, and then of course in June we're going to have more because I sent a crap load to both companies, and it's going to be cool. Also, use this opportunity, especially fellow Gen Xers that are getting back into this hobby. I didn't know everything. I learned a lot from these younger guys, because I didn't know much about grading and all the other stuff, but I'm learning and catching up to everything, and I'm just trying to pass that knowledge on to you. But use this opportunity. Maybe there's books you should be on the lookout for. I point out Marvel Spotlight number 6, how that's a really good investment. And also in my last episode, I talked about the Super Mario's first appearance in Valiant Comics. That's another one. So without further ado, let's dive into this fun. Alrighty, so the first book we're going to get to check out is Secret Wars number 7. Yep, Secret Wars number 7. Now, what makes this book interesting and attractive is, well, we just saw Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and it seems to be like the whole arc is pointing towards Secret Wars finally coming to the big screen, finally coming to the MCU. Now, whether it's going to be this incarnation, or I know there's been other Secret Wars that have been, but most of us Gen Xers, and this is where it all started. Now, this particular one caught my attention because it's the first appearance of, I think her name is Jennifer Carpenter, the second Spider-Woman. We know Jessica Drew is the famous one, but this was another Spider-Woman that was introduced in Secret Wars. So again, I like the cover. It's definitely a first appearance, so it's noteworthy. And it's just something I picked up, and I think that it's great. I also wanted to point out, in an earlier episode, I talked about how PGX is switching to these new covers that they have. And if you could see, with the flap down that's sealable, this makes everything, you think it's a small thing, but it's actually significant. It makes things that appear nice and clean and protect, adding another layer of protection to your books. And I like that even the little things matters to this company that's hungry and looking to make customers happy. And I like that. I think that's something to take note about when you give your money to a company, that even the little things like this is something that they're looking to improve on. And I like this. So again, we'll just take this out of the book. Presents well. I like it. 8.0 I got. And we have over there the first appearance of the new Spider-Woman, that nice pink. And from earlier episodes, when you combine that with Secret Wars number 1, this is the newsstand. I forgot to check if this is the era. I'm sure they would have put it up there, but the Galactus era, where Galactus is blue instead of his normal purple color. I don't know if this was the era, but I guess it's not, because they would have noted on the top there. But a newsstand copy of Secret Wars number 1. And of course, the iconic Secret Wars number 8. So just adding this number 7 to my little Secret Wars collection with a possible appearance in the MCU. Hey, now is the time. I know with this book, prices have dropped significantly. It's one of those books that is always popular, but it has a weird ebb and flow to it. Like, it'll peak, it'll flatten out, peak again, flatten out. It'll never die. It'll never do that. That's the good thing about Secret Wars number 8. It's so iconic, something that every collector should have. I don't even care if this is a 6.0. I've said that the number doesn't matter that much to me. Having the actual book and having it present well, look well, that's really important to me. This is a CGC 6.5. So this is when I used to use CGC more frequently. See, even I made the switch, so I'm not telling you something that I don't I follow what I'm preaching. So Secret Wars number 7, definitely you should get on board and try to track down these this wonderful series, just because of where the MCU is heading. Alright, so even though this episode is going to be short, we're throwing out some heavy hitters. And the next book we're going to showcase is the iconic GIJoe issue number 21. And if you're thinking, hey, wait a second, I thought you showcased this in an earlier unboxing. Well, I did. This is the newsstand variant of this iconic issue. This one got a 5.5 because sadly there's a little bit of a nick up there, but who gives a rat's ass? I finally have issue number 21. So, how do you build on that? How about the direct edition of issue number 21's first printing? Remember, with G.I. Joe issue number 21, it is such a game changer. It changed everything. It's probably one of the top 5 most significant, impactful comics in the last 50 years. That's right. Even non-G.I. Joe fans can attest the impact that this book has had. And we recently just celebrated, it's not 40 of this book, but 40 years of G.I. Joe. IDW released a tribute issue, which basically recapped issue number 21 using guest artists. And one of those artists was the late, great Neal Adams. So perhaps one of the last few things that Neal Adams worked on was the tribute to issue number 21. And I'll show it here on the corner here, but that just means a lot more, that even the great Neal Adams wanted to be part of the tribute to this iconic issue. After all the things he's done, that he still wanted to be on board for this. And it's basically also a friendship with Larry Hama. There are several, Larry has mentioned how Neal has stood up for him during these cons and stuff like that. And the other aspect is that, sadly, with the McFarlanes, the Jim Lees, Rob Liefelds, these modern comic people are not giving Larry Hama the proper respect that he deserves. And we already saw George Perez, Neal Adams, Larry Hama is in that group of the Gen X artists. And I don't want it to be like after Larry is gone that people are like, oh yeah, Larry Hama was impact. No, even while he's still alive working, that was part of one of the reasons why I started this channel, is because Larry is still cranking out some great, amazing stuff. In the current iteration of G.I. Joe, he recently did an Iron Fist, was basically a 101 on how to write comic book classes to these modern artists and writers. I mean, it may not have gotten the press, but if you read that Iron Fist run in Marvel recently, that Larry put out, it is a textbook on how to write a comic book. And I don't know shit about Iron Fist, but I was able to enjoy that series without knowing that much about the character. Like how he set everything up so you could, even if someone with no knowledge could jump in and enjoy that. That is, check that out, the Iron Fist Larry Hama that he did. Anyway, going back to this, I always wanted to get a newsstand and a direct edition of this iconic issue. And I got a 6.5, and thanks to, I'm going to show the before and after, the cleaning process. And these guys had to roll up their sleeves to bring this book to at least this condition. And that's why another thing to teach is that using the clean and press option is very viable. It helps the books bring them up. This probably would have gotten maybe a 4 or a 5 if I didn't utilize that service. But it looks much more cleaner, much more presentable. Just like this one. This one, when it came back, was dirty. These books look dirty, and PGX did such a great job with their cleaning and press options. So when you're sending books, especially us old guys with books from the 80s, look into that option. It pays off dividends, and they do a really thorough job in cleaning the books and making everything presentable. So I'm proud to be the owner of 2 G.I. Joe issue number 21s. I wish my 8-year-old self can see me now. Woo! Alright, the next book we're going to showcase has been appearing in a lot of top 10, for a lot of top 10 pickups or most impactful books. And that's going to be Spider-Man 2099. Now, we already know that this character is going to be appearing in the next Into the Spider-Verse Part 2. There's a lot of discussions about this character. Again, this is a wonderful foil book for the typical 90s stuff. But here's the back thing with these. I mean, we got Venom #1, and this. Foil books are notorious for cleaning and pressing because this book actually has a little indent here that's tough to get out when they utilize that clean and press. I got an 8.5, which is remarkable. And add to the fact that this is a newsstand variant. That's right, this is one that sat in 7-Eleven or any of those convenience stores back in the day. And if you've noticed with my Secret Wars #1, I do have a lot of newsstand variants, and they are more sought out for and more difficult to acquire, but I got them primarily because that's how I used to buy half of my comics. I mean, I mentioned going to my local comic book store when I was a kid, but there was also 7-Eleven that was a mile away from my house. So I used to pick up comics whenever I went and got a Slurpee. I mean, that was my go-to. Get a Slurpee, get a comic book. So that's why I'm more drawn to newsstand variants because of that experience as a kid. Again, this book came out beautiful, and it's one of the top 10 hot books to pick up. I know New Avengers #7, the first Illuminati, which I featured in an earlier episode, that is another hot book, but this book came out great. I mean, I am so happy to finally be reunited. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the one I had. I think I sold the one I had when I was a kid. So reacquiring this was definitely something that I've been on the hunt for. Now, I wasn't really drawn to this character as a kid, and the whole lore. I just basically got issue 1 because I followed that 90s phobia of picking up every issue #1. But I know that there's a big following for Spider-Man 2099, and the fact that it's getting popular. So whether it's a direct edition or even the newsstand variant, this is a book you should definitely target and pick up, just because it's going to be featured in Into the Spider-Verse Part 2, and with all of the multiverse stuff, who knows? I mean, a lot of people point to Miles Morales, and right behind Miles Morales is going to be this character as well. So this book, again, came out beautiful, 8.5. So happy with this. Alrighty, so the last book we're going to feature for this episode, I mean, we had two big heavy hitters with GIJoe issue #21 and first issue of Spider-Man 2099. But we're going to end with something that's really significant and meaningful to me. And that is GIJoe Yearbook #3, which is actually a continuation. Let me grab it here. It is actually the continuation of issue #21 to non-GIJoe fans. This basically is picking up after Scarlet and Snake Eyes fly off and Storm Shadow is sitting there, and we see the Arashikage tattoo. So it is and we did a special IDW, did a reprint in a one-shot recently. So if you haven't, check that episode out to get more of the skinny on why this is a really cool issue. But what this is special about this particular one is that this was a gift from PGX. That's right, PGX sent me this book for free as a thank you for being a valued customer. And since they know I love GIJoe, they had an extra one. I mean, it's actually, from their comic shop that's adjacent to the company. They pulled one out of their inventory and sent it to me just to say thank you. And it has a note here that says, "To our friend Shabir, from all of us here at PGX." I mean, that is total class. You think CGC would do that? Nah, I don't think so. But the fact that they took the time to acknowledge little old me, and that's, we talked about, Larry Hama's autograph that I featured that they did for me. EGX also did a Larry Hama autograph that we're going to feature in an upcoming episode. But the fact that they took the time to do this. And I'm going to take the sticker off to show you why this is such an underrated comic to get. A Larry Hama, Mike Zeck cover. This is freaking awesome. And this is what this collecting and getting books graded is all about. Who cares about the monetary? And if you're at our age, when you're 40 plus or 35 and plus, and you have a IRAs, 401ks, and stocks, and legitimately planning your investment, and these are just fun, and getting books you shouldn't base your retirement off of comic books. I hate to tell modern comic youngsters and stuff, the proper way to go about it is getting a 401k, an IRA, mutual funds, doing that. That's going to help you out a lot longer down the road in your when you're gray-haired and everything than collecting. It's fun, don't get me wrong. It is a viable option, but don't put all your eggs into action figures and comic books and stuff like that, because you're going to get burned. You're going to live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. And probability is you're going to die by the sword. So make sure you diversify and be sensible with your investing and so on and so forth. But this channel is just dealing with the fun aspect of it. And this book is definitely fun. Beautifully done. Look at the back of this. This one makes this so freaking awesome. The back to go along with the front. Of course, you got my favorite, a Mike Zeck incarnation of the Baroness. The Baroness is all kind of hotness to me. So, and Scarlet too. You got my two favorites there, Scarlet and the Baroness. And the fact that this was given to me as a gift is so significant, and I'm greatly touched that they went any effort to acknowledge little old me is something that I treasure. And that's the cool thing about being in this hobby and meeting all of you, is like the impact that you have. Like, I'm not here to, I'm here to help people, and I'm here to make friends. And I'm so fortunate that I've befriended a lot of you regulars out there who have commented on I enjoy your comments. I learn just as much from you guys. So it's just cool to read the comments and to get that interaction. And again, I talked about meeting a new friend in Simple Tricks and Nonsense, the amazing cosplay team of husband and wife of John and Rebecca. They're really cool people. I can't wait to hang out with them. They're neighbors, EGS is only a town away from me, so I got to meet Tony, and I get to talk to Dan, the president of PGX, as a friend. Like, it's like, hey Dan, what's up? How are things going? Just real world stuff. It's just seeing how you're going and being friendly with everybody. And that's what's really, I walk away, and that's probably what I'm going to take to the grave, is making those connections with people. And after going through what I had and being so like terrified of going outside and being around people, but now it's kind of like, I'm winning, and that being out there helping others and stuff like that. But I'm going to end with this. We're going to do more unboxings. We have a EGS unboxing as well as PGX. We got another, I'm a little far behind. I got to do a comic recap of issue number 291 of GIJoe, as well as the new Cobra themed one-shot that they had. And if you haven't, check out the last episode. We did a special comic book day video visiting our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies. So make sure you check that out. Again, if you like, please subscribe and like the channel, and stay tuned for more fun here at Codename New 202. I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You, signing off. Have a good one, guys.